So here's my YouTube button that usually is an 8th grade project, and it serves as a night light, as you can see. So I use plexiglass, and what I'm doing is I'm going to cut out a triangle template with a piece of wood. That's about 1.25 inches thick, and I'll make the triangle equilateral, so about 4 inches on side. I'm going to cut it out on the bandsaw and make sure the guard is down. Safety first. Then I'm going to smooth it out onto the belt sander, get the sides nice and even. And then I'm going to cut the plexiglass to length for the sides, and I'm going to tape them on each side of the wooden triangle and use the disc sander to sand them flush. Now this disc sander is very aggressive, does a good job. So when you use the disc sander, make sure that you're on the downward side of the table, otherwise the project that you're holding will just be lifted up and sawdust will get in your face too. So keep it on the downward side and take your time. It's very aggressive. So make sure that you sand it flush so it's a nice even triangle. And I'm going to tape the other two sides on as well and sand it flush so that it's a nice even triangle again. Use a lot of tape so it doesn't go anywhere. Here's my third side. I'm careful not to hit the edge of my triangle with the disc sander. I don't want it to be marred or scratched up any more than it needs to be. I'm going to go on the belt sander and do some more cleaning up on it, but that will be later. So I glue it all together with super glue. Super glue, sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm using tape to kind of hold it together as well. So I'm going to put this off to the side to dry, and I'm going to start working on the frame of the box. Now I'm using poplar, and I'm going to double up the pieces because I need it thick, because when I make a box out of it, I'm going to round the corners, and I need enough material to round it. And you can see I have a dado cut in there, and that's going to hold the back panel. So glue it together. And I just kind of clamp it down. It doesn't need to be super tight, but okay, so my triangle is dried up, and I think I'm going to glue the top part on it with plexiglass too, so I don't cut it to shape like a triangle. And super glue it again, and then take it to the belt sander. And I'm going to use the belt sander to sand it so it's nice and smooth. But while that's drying, I'm going to cut my box to length using a miter saw. Now make sure you hold the piece of wood firm against the fence and just go slow. So I'm cutting it at a 45-degree angle, just cutting it to size. I set up my fence so I can use that measuring block to get my cuts precise. You won't be using this tool unless I'm directly supervising you in the future, just to let you know. But it's not too difficult. Okay, so I'm going to glue my frame together. I'm also going to use a nail gun to secure it. Nail gun is really simple. I like using it. It's fast, and you don't have to wait around for the glue to dry either. See how I have that channel or rabbit cut on the inside? That's for the back panel. See how simple that nail gun is? There you go. So the top piece is just a piece of plywood, and I'm going to cut it to length and just glue it on top. And I'm going to clamp it down so it's a nice seamless fit. I'm going to put in a clamp so it fits nice and tight. There it is. I just kind of use some vices and a couple of C-clamps. Okay, my triangle is dry. Now I'm going to go back to the belt sander, or not back to it, but to the belt sander. Well, actually, I'm going to the disc sander. Remove most of the material. Plexiglass is sanding off and melting off too, so it gets a little hot. Here's the belt sander. Now, sometimes you might burn the plexiglass. You can kind of see there it's going really fast, but I have to just slow down on it, and then you'll remove the burn. And I'm going to finish up using a palm sander. That gives it a nice satin finish, and it makes it real smooth. Now back to the box. It's dry, so I'm going to use a multi-purpose tool to cut out the triangle. A multi-purpose tool is pretty easy to use. They use that for like removing casts if you break an arm or a leg. And it's just a saw blade on a tool that vibrates really fast. So you'll see me using that next. I forgot to film this on the actual build, but I took a scrap piece of wood and I'm going to demo how it works. So that's what it is. It has a round blade that has teeth on it, saw teeth on it. And you just kind of line it up and just run it through, and you can kind of see how it's cutting into that piece of plywood. And you do all three sides again. So here it is, my cutout. And here's my channel for my back panel. And I also got a piece of wood with a hole in it that holds the light socket. I just glued that in, and there's my back panel. I'm just putting it in to see how it fits. And then remember, I have to round those corners, but before you paint, obviously you round the corners. I did that on the disc sander. So now I just thread the cord through the hole that I drilled out. And I made a notch so that the cord can kind of go through that notch so it doesn't stick out with the panel. We'll see that in a little bit. Yeah, just like that. Put the panel on. Just use a couple screws, turn it on, and there's your YouTube light. Works great, looks good, and it's a simple build that we usually do in 8th grade if you choose. And that's it. Thank you for enjoying my lesson.